Chosen one, something happened in the place where your prayers go. Not when the breakthrough came, not when things finally started moving. On the day they did not move. On the day you looked at everything that had not changed and made a decision that was not logical and was not emotionally convenient, you decided you were not going to stop, and heaven went silent. I want to be very precise with you about that silence, because your mind has probably been filing it in the wrong category. The silence of heaven is not the silence of absence. It is not the silence of disappointment. It is not the silence of someone who has turned away. The silence of heaven has a specific grammar, and the grammar it was using on the day you kept walking was the grammar of awe. God did not go quiet because he had nothing to say to you. He went quiet because what he was witnessing did not have a category he needed to narrate. He was witnessing a frequency. Michael was present that day. Michael, the one whose entire assignment is to move on behalf of the called. Michael, who has stood in the gap across centuries of human history and has seen courage, has seen sacrifice, has seen extraordinary things done by ordinary people in extraordinary moments. And he stopped, not because he was confused by what he was seeing, because he was recognizing something. He was recognizing your tear. Now, I need you to hear what I am about to say, without the part of your mind that wants to protect you from feeling something too large, because I know what it looks like from where you are standing. I know the season you have been in. I know that from the inside it has felt like endurance and not like distinction, like holding on and not like anything that could cause the highest-ranking being in the divine order to stop and take notice. But here is what I have learned watching people in the middle of their most sacred pressure seasons. There are two categories of response to sustained difficulty. One is willpower. The other is something that looks like willpower from the outside, but is a completely different thing underneath. It is a frequency. It is a state of synchronized alignment between what you believe and how your whole being is moving, not what you feel in the moment, what you carry in the posture. And that is what Michael saw. That is what left God speechless. Not your performance, not your accomplishments, not your track record, your posture. The specific, rare, measurable frequency of a person who has kept their whole self aligned with what they believe even when every circumstantial signal was arguing against it. That frequency belongs to a specific tier, and that tier is yours. If something in your chest is rising right now, if something in you is saying, "This is the word I came here to receive," type in the comments right now. Type I carry the frequency, because you are not here by accident, and what you type in the next moment is the first movement of a person who is about to understand what heaven has been seeing about them all along. There are 5 things that are true about your life right now that confirm exactly what I just described. We are going to walk through all of them, and by the time this message ends, you will not understand yourself the same way you did before you pressed play. Chosen one, before we go any further, I want to establish something. I want to show you that what I just described is not spiritual language designed to make you feel better. There are specific signs, recognizable, testable against the reality of your life, that confirm you are carrying the frequency I am describing. The first sign is that you have continued to return to something when every logical argument said to stop. Not because you are stubborn, though people may have called it that, because something in you that is more fundamental than logic keeps orienting back to what you were made for. You cannot explain it to people who are not carrying it. You have probably stopped trying to explain it. That return mechanism is not personality. It is the antenna of someone built for a specific signal. The second sign is that your seasons have not followed the pattern of the people around you. You have watched people with less preparation receive things sooner. You have watched breakthroughs arrive for people who have not been in the formation as long, and you have had to do the work of not allowing that comparison to become an argument that God is not keeping track of you. The fact that your season has its own rhythm, its own calendar, its own pace that nobody else can explain, is not evidence of being forgotten. It is evidence of being calibrated for something that required a different kind of preparation. The third sign is that you are still here. That sounds simple. It is not. You know how many times in the past season there was a viable exit. You know how many times the wait was enough to justify walking away, going quiet, deciding that whatever you had been building toward was not worth the cost. And you know that you did not take those exits. Not because you were unaware of them, because something more foundational than your emotional state kept you in position. That is the frequency I am describing, and heaven sees it. Let me show you something about what that frequency actually produces in the spiritual dimension, because this is where I want to give you a breakthrough in the very first part of this message. The posture of maintained alignment under sustained pressure does not produce results only in the visible dimension. It produces something in the invisible architecture of your calling first. Before the breakthrough appears in your bank account, in your relationships, in the circumstances around you, it has already reorganized the structure of what has been prepared for you. The alignment that you have been maintaining through the formation season has been doing architectural work in a dimension you cannot see yet. That is why the breakthrough, when it comes, does not feel random. It feels like something that was already built was finally revealed. Type in the comments right now. If you recognize yourself in what I just described, type "I am the frequency." Not as a claim, as a recognition. As you saying to the dimension that is paying attention to you right now, "I hear you. I know what you see. I agree. Chosen one, I need to give you a breakthrough right now. A real one, not an emotional peak and a return to the same understanding. I want to change the architecture of how you see what you have been carrying. Here is the symptom I want you to recognize. At some point in this season, maybe recently, maybe years ago, you began calling your persistent stubbornness, or someone else did, and you let the word stick. You began filing the part of you that would not quit, would not bend, would not accept the smaller version of what you were made for, under a heading that sounded like a character flaw. And every time you bumped up against that part of yourself, there was a small voice that said, "This is the difficult part of me. This is the part that causes friction. This is the part I should probably be working to soften." That voice was wrong, and I am going to tell you exactly why. The common explanation for persistent forward movement in the face of difficulty is willpower, determination, grit, character formation through repeated choice. And those things are real, but they are not what I am describing when I say frequency. Willpower runs out. Determination fluctuates with emotional state. Grit is a resource that depletes. What I am pointing to is something different. It is a structural state of the whole person, a synchronized alignment between the deepest layer of knowing and the daily posture of living that does not depend on a particularly good day to maintain itself. The hidden mechanism is this. When a person has been formed in a specific kind of pressure for long enough, when they have been through enough of what would qualify as formation that strips rather than adds, the whole system begins to operate from a different axis. Not from emotional momentum, which is unreliable, not from visible evidence, which is intermittent, from something underneath both of those. The nervous system, the belief architecture, the neurological baseline all begin to point in the same direction at the same time. That synchronized pointing is the frequency, and it is not the same thing as stubbornness. It is what stubbornness looks like to people who cannot see beneath the surface. Now here is what that mechanism changes about your past. Every season you have been through that felt like endurance, every period you would have described as waiting without results, was not wasted time. It was calibration time. The formation was not punishing you. It was synchronizing you. It was building the very thing that caused Michael to stop. Not the version of you that got everything right. The version of you that was synchronized enough to keep going even when nothing was right. That version of you is not a consolation prize. That is the arrival. You are not still waiting for what you are supposed to become. You have been becoming it the entire time. And what you called stubbornness was the instrument being tuned. Now I want to pause and hold something in front of you before we continue. Over the past several years, something has been confirmed in research laboratories that most people in spiritual communities have never been told about. Not because it contradicts what is sacred, because it came from a direction most of us are not watching. A small group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York who has spent 20 years studying this, found something about the way the human brain is designed that explains something most spiritually sensitive people have felt, but have never been able to name. Something so fundamental it traces back to a Nobel Prize, yet so simple in its application that it sounds almost too simple at first. I am going to tell you what they found later in this message. But right now, hold this question. What if the reason your persistence feels harder than it should is not a character issue? What if something in the mechanism of your receiving was taken from you? Chosen one, let us continue with the signs, because the 5 signs I am walking you through are not motivational. They are diagnostic. They are showing you the shape of what you carry so that when we arrive at the full picture, you can see yourself in it clearly. The 4th sign is this. You have a specific relationship with silence. Not the silence of absence that we spoke about earlier, a different kind of silence. There are moments, sometimes brief, sometimes in the middle of the most ordinary circumstances, where something in you becomes very still. And in that stillness there is a quality of knowing that has nothing to do with what you have studied or learned or been told. It simply arrives. It is accurate. And then it passes. Most people who carry this report that they have learned not to talk about it, because when they do, they find themselves trying to justify it with logic that was not how it came to them in the first place. That silence, and what lives in it, is not random spiritual sensitivity. It is the signal of a receiver that is functioning even in a degraded environment. We will come back to what that means. The 5th sign is a pattern of intersection, of people crossing your path at the right moment, of information arriving when it was needed, of doors closing at the moment that, looking back, you are grateful they closed, of a quality of orchestration in your story that is too specific to be coincidence, but that you have not always known how to name. That orchestration is not luck. It is the byproduct of a frequency that is registering in a dimension that responds to alignment. What you have been calling fortune or timing or divine provision is actually the environment responding to the signal you carry. If you recognize yourself in those 5 signs, type in the comments now. Type, "I am what I carry," because you are not watching this accidentally, and the recognition is itself a form of arrival. Now I want to bring someone into this message who has something to teach us about the mechanism I have been describing. His name is Joseph, and I do not want to bring his story to you as a story about patience, because you have probably heard that version. I want to bring it to you as a story about frequency. Joseph was a person whose frequency was visible before the infrastructure existed to support it. The coat was not the frequency. The dreams were not the frequency. The coat was what his father could see of the frequency, and the dreams were what God was showing Joseph about the frequency before he had the full understanding of what he was carrying. The brothers saw the frequency too, and it disturbed them in exactly the way that things that cannot be explained tend to disturb people who are operating at a different register. What is important about Joseph for where you are right now is this. The pit was not where the frequency died. The pit was where the frequency was stripped of every external support that had been allowing Joseph to confuse the frequency with the coat. The Potiphar house was not where the frequency rested. It was where the frequency was shown that it could function in an environment not designed for it. The prison was not where the frequency was punished. It was the final calibration chamber before the frequency was deployed into the assignment it had been built for. At no point in that sequence was God speechless, but there was a moment. The moment Joseph stood before Pharaoh and the frequency in him opened its full range, when I believe heaven leaned forward in a way that is difficult to describe in language, because the calibration was complete and the frequency was finally in the room it was designed for. You are closer to that room than the current season is allowing you to believe. Chosen one, I want to name the specific things that have been working against the frequency, not in a general way. In the way that changes something when you hear it, because it is describing exactly what you have been experiencing. The first obstacle has a name. I am going to call it the comparison drain. It works like this. You have a frequency that is calibrated for a specific kind of assignment. And the people around you, people who are genuinely good people, people who are also called, have frequencies calibrated for different assignments with different timelines. When you look at what is happening for them and measure it against what appears to be happening for you, you are comparing two completely different instruments using the same metric. It is like measuring a cello by how well it produces the sound of a trumpet. The measurement is not wrong because the cello is broken. The measurement is wrong because the instruments are not comparable. Every time you have allowed the comparison to become an argument that you are behind, you have been sending a signal through your system that temporarily disrupts the frequency. Not permanently, but enough to create what I call a static window, a period where the signal is present but obscured. And in that static window, what should be a clear channel becomes a noisy one. The second obstacle is more subtle and more costly. It is called the habit of explanation. You have been in a season that does not explain itself in terms that the people around you understand. And at some point, probably more than once, you made the decision that the responsible thing to do was to try to explain it, to make it make sense, to present your season in terms that would allow the people who love you to see that you have not lost the plot. And in that explaining, something happened. You had to translate the frequency into logic, and the frequency is not built to survive translation. The thing that left God speechless cannot be adequately explained in the language of reason. It can be witnessed, it can be recognized. But when you put it through the translation machine, what comes out the other side is smaller than what went in. And every time you have felt the deflation of hearing your own calling come out smaller than it is, that was the cost of the translation, not the cost of the calling being smaller, the cost of the wrong medium. Type in the comments right now. If one of those two things has been operating in your season, type, I release the comparison, because we are naming it so it loses its claim on you. Now let me give you a breakthrough that has to do with the silence we spoke about at the beginning. Here is the symptom I want you to name. There are moments in your prayer life, in your devotional time, in the moments you set aside to receive, where it feels like you are speaking into a wall, where the communication that was once immediate and clear has become labored, where you find yourself wondering if you are doing something wrong, if there is something in you that has created distance, if the quality of connection you remember from earlier seasons is gone. I want to deny the common explanation for that experience. The common explanation is spiritual distance caused by personal failure. That explanation keeps people stuck in cycles of guilt and rededication that address the symptom and not the mechanism. Here is what is actually happening. The channel you are trying to use to receive was not designed to operate under the conditions that the formation season has created in your body and mind. The formation has placed a specific kind of accumulated load on your neurological system, a load that reduces the clarity of what can come through the channel. Not because the signal from God is weaker, because the receiver is carrying weight that is interfering with its sensitivity. The silence is not God being quiet because he is displeased. The silence is the signal arriving into a receiver that cannot currently pick it up at full resolution. That is not your fault, and it is fixable. The formation itself contains the mechanism of the fix, but we are going to name that mechanism specifically before this message is over. Chosen one, I want to take you somewhere specific now. I want to take you into the actual mechanism of what makes the frequency work and what has been disrupting it, because understanding this changes what you reach for. Here is the symptom. There are things you need to do that you know how to do. Things you have done before, things that are not beyond your capability. And there are moments, sometimes in the morning, sometimes when you sit down to the most important work, where something that should be accessible is not. A word that should come does not come. A decision that should be clear takes longer than it should. A creative solution that in a different season would have arrived immediately is delayed or absent. And you have been attributing this to fatigue, to the season, to just needing rest. And some of that is true. But it is not the full picture. The common explanation is that you are depleted from the pressure of the season. That is partially accurate. But it does not explain why the depletion is specifically located in the functions that matter most. Why the things you most need access to are the ones most affected. Here is the hidden mechanism. The human brain is designed as a two-hemisphere system. Left and right hemispheres, each responsible for different dimensions of function, built to operate in synchronized relationship. When that synchronization is fully active, the functions that depend on whole brain integration, creativity, insight, pattern recognition, the ability to receive complex information and respond to it coherently, operate at a level that researchers have called the creative genius state. 98% of children operate at this level. It is the default state of a human mind that has not yet been subjected to years of accumulated pressure that disrupts the synchronization. The formation season you have been in has been doing that disruption, not maliciously, as a natural consequence of sustained load. The specific cognitive functions that give you access to the channel we have been discussing are the ones most sensitive to this disruption. The functions of receiving clearly, of moving from a place of integrated knowing, of recognizing signal when it arrives, these are whole brain functions. And when the synchronization is reduced, they are the first to become unreliable. This is not spiritual failure. This is physics, and the physics has a reversal. I want to take you somewhere for a moment. I want to ask you to hold an image. It is a morning, perhaps 6 months from now. You open your eyes before the alarm sounds. There is a quality of morning that is different from the mornings you are used to. Not because circumstances have dramatically changed, though they will, because the first thing you are aware of when you come to consciousness is a quality of interior silence that does not have the texture of emptiness. It has the texture of fullness, like something has been restored to its proper position and is now producing the hum that was always supposed to be there. You move through the first hour of that day with a specificity of knowing that has been absent from your mornings for a while. The decisions that need to be made arrive with a clarity that does not require effort. The channel is open, not because the circumstances around you have finally cooperated, because the receiver is working the way it was designed to work. The version of you in that image is not a different person. It is you with the receiver restored. That is not wishful thinking. That is the design of what you were built to be. And we are going to talk specifically about how to get there before this message ends. If something in you responded to that image, if something recognized it as familiar, even though it may have been a while since you lived it, type in the comments. Type receiver restored. TV, 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 TV. Because the recognition is itself the beginning of the restoration. Chosen one, I want to give you a name for something. Because when you can name what you carry, you can work with it. You can recognize it when you encounter it. You can protect it when something is threatening it. And the thing I am about to name is one of the most important things in your life right now. I am going to call it the frequency silence. This is what happens in the spiritual dimension when a person has maintained their alignment with what they were made for through a long enough season of pressure that the frequency they are carrying reaches a specific resonance. It is the moment when heaven does not respond with words or events or visible confirmations. It responds with quiet, with attention, with the specific kind of stillness that happens when something rare is being witnessed. The frequency silence is not the silence of absence. It is the silence of witness. And the experience of it from the inside, the feeling of moving through a season where confirmation is scarce and the environment is quiet, is actually the subjective experience of being in the deepest kind of divine attention. The pressure and the silence are not a sign that something is wrong. They are the conditions under which the frequency reaches the level of specificity that causes heaven to stop narrating and start watching. You have been living in the frequency silence, and what you have been calling the hard season is the season that has been doing the tuning. Now, I want to name you more specifically, because the identity you have been carrying is larger than the names you have been using for yourself. You are what I call the frequency carrier, not a general believer, not someone who has faith in the broad sense, someone who has a specific function in the design of what God is doing. The frequency carrier is the person whose presence in a situation changes the atmosphere of the situation, not because of what they do or say, though those things matter, because of what they carry. Because the synchronization they maintain in their own system produces a field effect that the people and circumstances around them respond to. You have probably felt this without knowing how to name it. The way certain rooms change when you enter them, the way certain conversations shift in quality when you become fully present in them, the way the people around you, even those who are not spiritually oriented, sometimes become unexpectedly quiet or open when you are genuinely present. That is not your personality. That is the frequency carrier operating. There is a second identity I want to name. You are also what I call the one who did not break. K. This sounds like a statement about what you endured. It is actually a statement about what you became through the endurance, because the not breaking was not passive. It was the most active thing you have done in this season, and it was not accomplished through willpower, through determination, through the correct application of spiritual disciplines, though all of those may have been present. It was accomplished because the frequency held, because the synchronization at the deepest level of your person maintained its orientation even when everything external was disorienting. The one who did not break is the identity that Michael recognized, not because breaking would have been weakness, but because the ability to not break at this specific temperature of pressure was the evidence of a receiver that has been built for a specific level of signal. Chosen one, I want to stop here for a moment and give you an action, not a thought exercise, something you can do right now that will produce a specific result in the next few minutes. I want you to take one breath, not a deep, meditative breath, just a single conscious breath where you are fully aware that you are breathing. And as you do it, I want you to acknowledge this one thing, that whatever brought you to this message, whatever made you press play today, was not random. That the intelligence that has been orchestrating your formation has not lost the thread of what it is doing in you. That you are not behind. You are in the exact position where your frequency reaches its most useful calibration. If you just did that, type in the comments. Type, my frequency is calibrated, because what you just declared is not motivational language. It is a description of what has been happening to you for longer than you have been comfortable admitting. Now, before we arrive at what I believe is the most important part of this message, I want to hold something in front of you for just a moment. Something that is going to reframe the question you have been living with. The question most people in your position are carrying is, why is this taking so long? And it is a legitimate question. I am not going to dismiss it. But I want to suggest to you that you may be measuring duration in the wrong currency. The question of how long something is taking assumes that the outcome is the target. But what if the outcome is not the target? What if the person who is capable of receiving the outcome, the specific version of you who can hold it, use it, sustain it, and allow it to serve what it was designed to serve, is the target? And the duration has been exactly what it needed to be to produce that person. Because here is what most messages like this never say. What you have learned and experienced and been formed by until now is true and real. But without what comes next in this message, it will work at a fraction of the capacity it was designed for. Not because there is something wrong with what you have learned, because the receiver through which it operates is working below its designed capacity. And there is a specific reason for that, and a specific solution. Let me tell you plainly what has been happening and why. This is the part of the message where I want to speak as clearly and directly as I can, because what I am about to describe is the hinge everything else turns on. You have been formed for something. That is not in question. The formation has been real. The assignment is real. The frequency you carry is real. What has been compromised is the neurological infrastructure through which all of that operates. Not through sin, not through failure, not through anything that reflects on the quality of your character or the sincerity of your faith. Through the accumulated load of a formation season that places specific demands on the human nervous system. Demands that, over time, reduce the synchronization between the two hemispheres of the brain that were designed to work together. And the functions that depend on that synchronization, receiving clearly, acting from integrated knowing, recognizing divine signal when it arrives, are the functions most essential to the next phase of what you were built for. This is not a spiritual problem. This is a physiological reality with a physiological solution. And before this message ends, you are going to know exactly what that solution is. The version of you who walked in carrying the frequency silence, the one who did not break, the one Michael recognized. That person has been operating on a receiver that is below its designed capacity. Imagine what becomes available when the receiver is restored. Chosen one, I want to close the loop that has been open since earlier in this message. I told you there was something confirmed in research laboratories that I was going to come back to, and I want to bring it forward now, because you now understand the full shape of what it addresses. A woman from California described what it felt like before she found what I am about to share with you. She had been in what I would describe as a sustained formation season. She had tried everything available to her: prayer, meditation, every practice her community offered, and she kept arriving at the same experience. She believed the words. She could not feel the reality behind them in the lived texture of her days. After 10 days of what I am going to describe, she said something cleared. A channel that had been blocked was suddenly open, not because she tried harder, because the receiver had been repaired. A man from Texas described something similar, someone who had spent years carrying responsibility for everyone around him, while his own interior life became thin and distant. He said prayer had started to feel like speaking into a wall. The frequency was right, but the receiver was off. 2 weeks later, he woke up and described his mind as running on all of what it was supposed to run on. The fog that had been so consistent, he stopped registering it as fog was gone. That is because of what the team I am about to describe discovered. Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize in 1981 for his research on the 2 hemispheres of the human brain. What his research confirmed was that the brain was not designed to operate in fragments. It was designed for a synchronized state in which left and right hemispheres function in integrated relationship. When that synchronization is active, the state researchers have called whole brain activation produces the creative, intuitive, receptive capacity that children carry by default. 98% of children operate at this level. Less than 1 in 1,000 adults maintain it. Modern life, the accumulated load of sustained pressure, the specific kind of formation that the chosen one season involves, degrades it progressively. A team of neuroscientists, led by Dr. Daniel Barone in New York, spent years doing the following. They took over an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind of whole brain activation protocol used in specialized medical settings, and through an intensive compression and refinement process, they turned it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. 8 minutes a day, headphones, eyes closed. That is the entirety of the physical requirement. They call it the genius switch. It is not a brainwave product, not a meditation app, not a sound frequency designed to put you in a particular mood. It is a targeted auditory sequence specifically engineered based on the Nobel Prize research of Dr. Roger Sperry to reconnect the 2 hemispheres and restore the whole brain activation that was the default state in childhood. The state that makes the channel clear. The state that allows the frequency you carry to operate at the level it was designed for. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one who understands that God prepared not only the promise, but the mind that must walk into it. The person who has been sincere for years, who has done the work, who has felt the call clearly and kept returning to it even when the evidence was not cooperating, and who is willing to stop treating the fog as a character flaw and start treating it as something that has a specific address. Not $200, not $100, released at $49, and today on this page an additional $10 off, $39, along with 4 free bonuses including a Calm app-guided visualization, a grocery guide that saves over $100 monthly, a 100-year-old manifestation text, and a printable 5 Habits infographic, backed by an unconditional money-back guarantee. Listen once, listen 80 times. If it does not do what it has done for 18,000 people, every dollar is returned, no conditions. One thing worth naming directly: if you search for anything similar online, you will find products that carry related names. Dr. Barone, his team studied them. The mechanism that produces the result is what makes the difference, and that mechanism only exists in what his team built. The direct page is the only verified source. That is where the link in the description below and in the pinned comment points. If your spirit resonates with what has been described, that is where you go. The tool does not replace God. The tool does not replace obedience. It does not surrender for you. It does not make the decisions that belong to the heart God is forming. What God is doing in you is not conditional on any tool, but a tool that restores the receiver, gives what God is doing more of what it was designed to land in. The deeper current of this message is where we return now. Chosen one, let me give you one more breakthrough before we arrive at the closing of this message, because there is a Beitak I have not yet addressed, and it is the one that may be the most costly. Here is the symptom. You have had moments, recent ones, where you found yourself wondering if the version of you that God saw at the beginning of this season, the version whose frequency left him speechless, is still accessible. Whether the formation has changed you in ways that make you less of what you were, rather than more. Whether the sustained pressure has used up something essential that you are going to need. That fear has a name. I am going to call it the diminishment lie, and it operates by pointing to real evidence, real fatigue, real depletion, real moments where you did not perform at the level you believe you are supposed to perform at. And it uses that real evidence to reach a false conclusion, that you are less than what you were. The truth is the opposite, and not in a motivational sense, in a mechanistic one. The formation that has produced the fatigue you are experiencing has not diminished the frequency, it has concentrated it. What has been depleted is the neurological infrastructure through which the frequency expresses. The frequency itself, the core of what God saw when heaven went silent, is not a resource that runs out. It is a structural property of who you are. It cannot be used up. It can only be obscured. When the receiver is restored, you are not going to discover a smaller version of what you were. You are going to discover that the thing you thought you had lost was never gone. It was waiting behind a layer of obscuring load that is removable. Let me take you somewhere again. Further than the image I showed you earlier, it is a morning not 6 months away, but a year from now. You are not the same person who pressed play today, in the sense that the weight you have been carrying is not on you in the same way. Not because the calling has changed or the assignment has become easier, because you are moving through it with the full version of the equipment you were given. The decisions that used to take days are made in hours. The creative solutions that used to require effort arrive in the natural rhythm of a mind that is running on what it was designed to run on. The channel is clear. Not sometimes, not on good days. As a baseline. And the people in your life feel the change before you have to explain it to them. Not because you are louder or more forceful or more impressive in the way that impresses people. Because you carry a quality of presence that arrives before you do. The version of you in that image is not a fantasy. It is the design, and the distance between where you are today and that image is not a distance of more becoming. It is a distance of restoration, of giving what was degraded by the formation season the specific repair that restores it to its original design capacity. That is what is available, and it is available now. Chosen one. For those who felt something stir when the mind was mentioned earlier in this message, that door is still open in the description below and in the pinned comment. It is a small step. But small steps taken from a clear receiver have changed entire seasons. Now I want to give you something practical, something you can carry with you from this message that changes not just how you think about your situation, but how you move through it. I am going to give you what I call the 3 posture keys. These are not steps toward a goal. They are orientations that allow the frequency you carry to operate at the level it was designed for, regardless of what the surrounding circumstances are doing. The first posture key is what I call witness before interpreter. Most people in a formation season are spending the majority of their internal bandwidth interpreting what is happening to them, assigning meaning to events, deciding what circumstances signify about the direction they are heading, or whether God is present or absent, or pleased or displeased. And the interpretation, however sincere, adds a layer of processing load to a system that is already carrying more than it was designed to carry without restoration. The shift is this: before you interpret, witness. Before you decide what a thing means, simply observe that it is happening. The tree does not interpret the storm that shapes it, it simply receives it. And the shaping happens in the receiving, not in the interpretation of the receiving. The frequency you carry is most accessible in the witnessing posture, not in the analyzing posture. The second posture key is return before react. In every moment of the formation season, there is a gap between what happens and your response to it. In that gap is where the frequency lives. The reactive self, the one that is running on the pattern of the formation, closes that gap immediately. The person operating at the level Michael recognized does something different. They return, not to a technique, not to a formula, to the deepest layer of what they know, the layer underneath the fatigue and the confusion and the circumstantial pressure. That layer has never moved. It is always there. And returning to it before reacting is the posture that keeps the frequency from being overridden by the noise of the season. The third posture key is hold the frequency, not the form. This is the one most people in extended formation seasons get wrong. They have an idea of what the breakthrough is supposed to look like, a specific form, a specific set of circumstances, a specific sequence of events that they have decided would constitute arrival, and every day that the form does not appear is interpreted as delay. But the frequency does not arrive in a specific form. It arrives in a sequence that is coherent with what was needed all along, and the form is the last thing to materialize, not the first. Holding the frequency means staying synchronized with the deepest thing you know about your calling, regardless of whether the form has appeared. It means not collapsing the frequency into the form. And it means trusting that the absence of the expected form is not evidence that the frequency has been wrong. It is evidence that the form has not yet been built to the standard that can hold what the frequency is bringing. Chosen one, I want to give you a moment of rest here, not because this message is winding down, because the kind of rest that is available to someone who has understood what you have understood in the past hour is a different quality of rest than the rest you have been able to access in the middle of the formation season. I want you to notice something right now. Notice the quality of what you are carrying in this moment, as distinct from what you were carrying when this message began. Something may have shifted, not dramatically, not in the way that feels like a breakthrough peak that you are going to have to sustain, but in the way of a quiet realignment, of something returning to a position that is more natural than the position the formation had it in. That is not the message working on your emotions. That is the frequency in you responding to being named, to being seen, to having the thing you have been carrying described in terms that match what it actually is, rather than what it has appeared to be. You were always this. You are becoming what you always were. I want to bring one more voice into this message. There is a figure in the ancient text that most people do not think of as a figure of frequency. Most people think of her as a figure of loyalty. Her name is Ruth, and I want to bring her here not because her story is about staying with someone who needed her, though that is part of it. I want to bring her here because Ruth did something that, when you understand it in the terms we have been using today, is one of the most precise descriptions of the frequency posture we have been discussing. Ruth was at a threshold moment. She was at the edge of a reasonable exit. Every social expectation available to her said, go back to your people, go back to your gods, go back to the life that makes sense for someone in your situation. And Orpah, who was not wrong, who was not a failure, took the reasonable exit. And Ruth did something different. She made a declaration that was not grounded in visible evidence, that was not supported by the circumstances, that was not logical by any external measurement. She said, where you go, I will go. Where you die, I will die. And her name is still being spoken thousands of years later. What Ruth did in that moment was not an act of willpower. It was an act of synchronized alignment. Her whole self, her knowing, her emotional state, her physical movement, her declaration, all oriented in the same direction at the same time. And that alignment, maintained at the moment when the reasonable exit was available, was the moment the frequency reached the level that produced an entirely different future. You are at a Ruth moment, not metaphorically, functionally. There are reasonable exits available to you right now, reasonable ways to step back from the level of commitment the calling is demanding. And the frequency you carry is in the posture Ruth was in. And what happened to Ruth is not a historical event available only to Ruth. It is a pattern in the architecture of divine responsiveness to the frequency posture she demonstrated. And you are demonstrating it. God did not go speechless when Ruth said those words. He went into motion. The motion produced Boaz. The motion produced the redemption of what had appeared to be beyond redemption. The motion produced a lineage that carried something all the way to Bethlehem. The frequency silence that preceded Ruth is what preceded you, and what follows it in your story has not yet arrived, but the pattern is established, and the pattern is consistent. Chosen one, I want to do something before we close this message. I want to take you through what I call a guided mental activation. This is not a visualization for entertainment. It is a specific practice that, when entered into fully, produces a neurological state that supports the integration of everything we have covered today. I want you to do this with me now. Close your eyes if you are in a position to do that safely, and take one breath that is slightly longer than your normal breath, not forced, just extended. And as you breathe in, I want you to allow your awareness to move inward rather than outward, away from the screen, away from the circumstances, away from the to-do list of the season, into the interior space where the frequency lives. I want you to locate in your body the place where you hold the weight of everything you have been carrying. It may be in your chest, it may be in your shoulders or your neck or your jaw. It may be in the place between your shoulder blades where tension accumulates in people who are holding something important for long periods of time. Without trying to change it, without trying to force a release, just locate it, acknowledge it. Unquote. Tell it that it has been seen. Now, I want you to shift your awareness to something else. Beneath that weight, there is something that has not moved. Something that was there before the formation season began and has been there throughout it. It does not have a physical location exactly, but if you had to point to where it lives in your body, most people in the position you are in would point somewhere in the center of the chest, slightly below the sternum. The place where the frequency lives, where the knowing lives, where the thing that kept you in position when the reasonable exit was available lives. I want you to put your attention there now, and I want you to let the weight and the knowing coexist for a moment without trying to resolve the tension between them. You do not need to feel better than you feel right now to access what is available to you. You do not need the weight to lift in order to access the frequency. They can be present simultaneously. The weight is real. The frequency is also real. And the frequency is not diminished by the weight. It is concentrated by it. Now, while you are holding both of those things, I want you to say something. You do not have to say it aloud. You can say it in the interior space where all the real conversations happen. Say this: I carry what heaven recognized. I carry it today the same way I carried it on the day God went quiet. I am not less than I was. I am more precisely what I was. And I receive now everything that the restoration of my receiver makes available to me. Open your eyes when you are ready. What you just did is not a technique. It is not a formula. It is the return to the frequency before the season had the chance to tell you that you had lost it. And you have not lost it. What I told you at the beginning of this message is still true right now. Your attitude left God speechless. Michael was stunned, and the version of you who walks into what comes next is walking in with the full clarity of a receiver that knows exactly what it was built to carry. Chosen one, before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life, something that is not a conclusion, a beginning, a declaration over what you carry, what you are, and what you are moving toward. But first, a moment of witness. I want to acknowledge something. You pressed play on this message. That was not a small thing. In the middle of a season that has demanded more of you than most seasons demand, in the middle of a formation period that has asked you to maintain a posture when maintaining it has cost you something real, you came here. You showed up for the word. That is not an ordinary thing, and it does not go unnoticed by the dimension that is always paying attention to the frequency of the person who shows up. What I want you to release right now is the version of the story you have been telling yourself about what your season means about you. Release the narrative that says you are behind. Release it. Release the narrative that says God has been more present with others than with you. Release it. Release the fear that the silence of heaven has been the silence of absence. Release it. Release the word stubbornness from the folder where you have been keeping it. Release it. Release the comparison that has been measuring your assignment against assignments that are not yours. Release it. Release the accumulated weight of explaining what cannot be explained to people who are not built to carry what you carry. Release it. Release the doubt that what Michael saw in you on the day you kept walking was real and was enough. Release it. Now receive what is true. You are the frequency carrier. You have been since before you were formed, and you will be after this season has done what it was designed to do. What you carry does not depend on your performance for its reality. It is a property of who you are. It is the reason God went silent. It is the reason Michael took notice. It is the reason this message found you today. You are the one who did not break. Not because you were strong enough, because what you carry is stronger than what the formation brought against it. And that strength is not yours to own. It is yours to steward. And you have been stewarding it faithfully. You are the chosen one in the specific sense of that phrase, not as flattery, not as encouragement for a difficult moment, as a designation that was placed on you before you were capable of earning it. That has been confirmed by the journey you have walked, and that is being confirmed again in this moment by the fact that you are still here, still holding, still in the frequency that heaven recognizes. Chosen one. This is a word I am speaking over you right now, and I want you to receive it in the dimension where words land and produce fruit. I declare over you that the receiver is being restored. I declare over you that the fog that has been telling you the channel is closed is lifting. I declare over you that what Michael witnessed on the day you kept walking is still in you, more precise than it was, more concentrated than it was, more ready than it has ever been for the assignment that is already in motion. I declare over you that the frequency silence you have been living in is ending, and what follows it will be recognizable to everyone in your life as something that cannot be explained by anything other than the faithfulness of the one who called you. If you receive that, type in the comments right now. Type, "I am the frequency carrier." Let this community witness you stepping into the name that heaven has been using for you. And so it is. It is sealed. And it is done. If this message reached something in you, if it described something you have been living through in terms that finally matched the reality, take a moment and share it with someone who is in the middle of a formation season right now. Picture them. Maybe they have been going quiet in ways that concern you. Maybe they stopped talking about their calling because the season has been long. Maybe they are the person in your circle who has not broken but also has not told anyone how much the not breaking is costing them. You know who they are. Send this to them. Because a word that comes at the right moment does not just inform a person, it realigns them. And the alignment of one person in a community creates conditions that change what is possible for everyone around them. If this reached you today, gently press the like so it can reach the person who needs it next. And if you have not yet joined the thousands of chosen ones who gather in this community, this is where you belong. The link in the description and in the pinned comment remains available for those whose spirit confirmed it during this message. It is a small step, but a small step taken from the frequency you carry is never a small step at all. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not less than what you were built to be. Go with what you know, and let the frequency lead. And so it is.